Oh, football is happening. Welcome to That's Good Sports. I'm Brandon. I believe Big Dick Nick only rises for the occasion when it matters, Perna. Today, I'll preview the matchup between the defending Super Bowl champion Eagles and the defending Super Bowl choke artists, the Atlanta Falcons. Now wait, Falcons fans, wait. I'm not hating. I rooted my dangerously tiny little heart out for you in Super Bowl 51. Trust me, I hate the Patriots more than you ever will, but the Eagles gave me something your team did not. Satisfaction. And I demand satisfaction. And I only get that from seeing a sad Tom Brady. The Falcons Super Bowl was like the Red Wedding in Game of Thrones, and the Eagles Super Bowl was like watching Joffrey choke and die on his own vomit in Game of Thrones. A choking that I liked, Atlanta. And you're done. Nobody will make fun of you anymore for that loss. Anyway, let's talk about this game. Oh, what was that? Just a little teaser for my new Sunday Night Football song coming out this weekend. Do subscribe here to this YouTube channel. And this episode is sponsored by BetDSI.com, one of the most trusted sports books out there. Use the link in my description and my promo code GS100 and BetDSI will match up to $1,000 on your first deposit. There's a 10x rollover on that. And for this game, the Falcons on the road, they are only 1.5 point underdogs. That line has shifted quite a bit due to, I think, Foles starting, the absence of Wentz, and all of the injuries to the Eagles and lack of preseason play. The over-under is set at 44.5, and since this is a prediction episode, I'll tell you at the end who I think will cover the spread or win and or do the over-under. Betting, doing it stuff, I will tell you. Nick Foles is getting the start because Carson Wentz has not been cleared for contact yet. I can relate because I wasn't cleared for any sort of female contact until I was 23. I had a very strict mother, but she loved me. And that's why I am now terrified of women. Thanks, Mom. So it's Nick Foles versus Matty Ice. If you had to bet money on which QB would eventually become a Super Bowl MVP back at the beginning of the 2016 NFL season, and you bet on Foles like an idiot, you would be a rich man. If you like prop bets, right now you can take the over-under on how many touchdown passes Matt Ryan will throw this year, which is set at 24.5. I don't know how this shit works, but seems ripe for me to lose somehow. Look, I knew the Eagles were destined to win the Super Bowl when this throw by Nick Foles was not picked off by the Falcons in the playoff game last year. When this terrible fucking pass bounced off of Keanu Neal's knee and right into Torrey Smith's cold dead hands, I knew Eagles had destiny on their side. Colin Kaepernick may have the most hated knee in the NFL, but Keanu Neal has the most hated knee in Atlanta. I think both quarterbacks will play well Thursday night, and Nick Foles' preseason big limp dick is just from too much Super Bowl whiskey. He's sobered up and ready to go. If he plays poorly, it will be because Atlanta jams his receivers at the line, messes up his rhythm and timing, which he builds with the RPO, run pass option, RPO, Nick Foles. So basically, Atlanta, take away his RPO timing, and Nick Foles is nothing. RPO, according to every expert. Now, Foles will be without Alshon Jeffery, his number one receiver, which leaves Mike Wallace and Nelson Agholor, who hasn't played at all this preseason with a lower body injury. Could be a toe, could be a thigh, could be a knee. It's more mysterious than the nickname Matty Ice, as Matt Ryan has never, ever touched a liquid cooler than 90 degrees. Should be Matty hot water. Sure, the quarterbacks get all of the attention and all of the ass, but the real thing to watch in this first game is the men in the trenches. Right now, Pro Football Focus ranks the Eagles' offensive line as the best in the NFL and the Falcons as the second best. Interesting assessment of the big men. To me, this is all about the Falcons' line against the Eagles' defensive line. That's still the strength of the Eagles' team. but how much will they miss Tim Jernigan while he's still recovering from his injury? That unit has to pressure Matt Ryan on most of his passing attempts because if he has time, I think he has a distinct advantage against the Eagles secondary. I mean, according to CBS Sports, the Eagles defense should be better with new corner Daryl Worley. Who the fuck is reporting over at CBS? Yes, the Eagles did trade Torrey Smith to the Panthers for Worley, but immediately regretted it when he was arrested for DUI and firearm possession, passed out in his car blocking a highway. The Eagles cut him, and guess who picked him up? John Gruden and the Raiders. That CBS article was published yesterday. I do better research than them, which is fucking scary, because I know how lazy I am. Now, my sex factors for Philly are Darren Sproles and wide receiver Shelton Gibson. Sproles was out pretty much all of last season with a torn ACL, which is contagious, by the way. He passed that on to Jason Peters and Carson Wentz. I feel like Sproles could have a big game in his return, catching passes out of the backfield. Shelton Gibson has gotten a ton of reps this preseason, has looked good, and will be a factor with Jeffery out. Gibson is a player who needs to seize his opportunity now to become a legit receiver in the league. An area I think the Eagles' D is outmatched in is the secondary. I don't think Ronald Darby, Sidney Jones, or Rasul Douglas and Jalen Mills can cover Julio Jones, Mohamed Sanu in the slot, and rookie first-round pick Calvin Ridley all night. I think those guys are going to make big plays. But the matchup I really like there is Mohamed Sanu against whoever is trying to cover him in the slot. Sanu only had 3 catches for 50 yards in the playoff game, and without Patrick Peterson now, I think there's a mismatch problem there. Calvin Ridley is a rookie, so I don't know what to think of him yet. By midseason, I think both of these teams will have a great rotation of running backs, but for this game, both teams' backs have not played much due to injuries in the preseason. Now, Devonta Freeman has been resting because of a late season knee injury from last year. Tevin Coleman is healthy, which may be enough to carry that offense, but Freeman will play, and I think he's going to play well with all of that rest he's gotten this preseason being precautionary. And I'm going to give that group an advantage because the Eagles running backs have been resting because of real injuries, not precautionary per se. Now, the Falcons defense is returning 9 starters. I think that's huge for consistency's sake and for a defensive-minded head coach like Dan Quinn. I'm picking the Falcons to win this game and definitely cover the 1.5 point spread. That is the bet I made on BetDSI. But Eagles fans, remember, I picked you to lose every playoff game and the Super Bowl, which was in good luck for your team. I'm hoping to give you the same luck to start this season. But the reason I'm going with Atlanta is because I think they are more prepared for week 1. Philly has been banged up all preseason. Almost all of your skill players have not played or have barely played due to injury. Week 1 is basically a preseason game anyway for the starters. And I think it's just more so for Philly this year. So let's recap some of the reasons why I think Atlanta will win, okay? Philly, their defensive line, still great, but Timmy Jernigan is out. He's a big part of that line. He's on the PUP list. Linebacker Nigel Bradham, suspended for the opener, not for insider trading or anything like former Eagles linebacker Michael Kendricks. With Bradham out, I think that really opens the door for Tevin Coleman to have a big game in the passing department, because there are depth concerns for the Philly linebackers. Back to the line. With Jernigan out, I do like Haloti Ngata filling in. They have Michael Bennett now. And then Chris Long, Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, all ready to go. I just feel like the Eagles need a few weeks before the identity of the rest of their team takes shape and get healthy. Haloti Ngata is getting old, by the way. He played in 5 games last year, and this is his 13th NFL season. However, he's never been surrounded by so much talent, which could make him a game wrecker. He's like Joe Walsh, super talented alone, but could become a legend now that he too joined the Eagles. For you music fans. The playoff game last year between these two teams was a barn burner, a 15-10 win for Philly. The over-under here is 44.5. I think that the under is the safe bet, which is why I bet on the over like an idiot. Don't do what I do, kids. I'm giving you examples of what not to do. Atlanta wins 22-19. Nick Foles RPO, Nick Foles RPO, Nick Foles RPO, Nick Foles RPO, Nick Foles, Disney RPO. Thanks for watching another episode of That's Good Sports. Subscribe here on YouTube. Please, God, do it. It's really nice of you. I am so happy football's back. I mean, I've watched all preseason, so it's really been back for 4 weeks for me, but for all the fans, now it's real. Shit is real. Oh, the shit is so real. I can almost smell it.